Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. As always, looking forward to spending some time with you. And today we're going to create this little design or something similar. You know what I'm like. And I just wanted to use these stamps. I love these. They're called the Fairy Shops. But the biggest tip I want to show you is, now can you pick up the sparkle in the water splats? And what it is I was creating a design for a workshop and I used the Mica Minerals, the White Sparkle. And I literally made a design where I dipped a brush in it and I did some painting with it and I cleaned my brush in my water pot and I didn't refresh it. So now when I flick my water, it just gives me that hint of sparkle. I'm so chuffed. I love it when things like that happen. So this is Multi-Fairies card and it's 5.5 inches. So first of all, we'll stamp our lovely fairy shops. I'm going to use the black, the Nocturne Versifying Clair. These are one of our older stamps. So if you've been collecting them for a while, have a look through, see if you've got these. So I just want to pop them in the corner here. And these make a lovely Christmas design. Honestly, they make a lovely Christmas card. Look at that. The detail is just beautiful. But I thought today I'm going to team them up again with an older stamp. And this is gorgeous. It's called Trailing Ivy. And it's a beautiful corner ivy stamp. Again, I've had this one a while, but I just love it. And I just thought it would work well for this. So I'm sticking with the black. You could use one of your greens, but I thought for this, I just wanted to just keep with the black. And what I'm going to do is stamp it first in this corner here. And then lift up and just have a look. So we've got this lovely corner here, and it's look, I just wanted it to come over the shops, but I need some more down here. So if we ink up a bit more ink on there, and then maybe just bring this along, but bring it, angle it up into the design. But I'd like that to happen here. So maybe if I just ink up the end and we just put a little, as though the ivy was just coming round. So you see how I just think it frames it beautifully. We've got that lovely shape. Now it might be you're not going to use the houses, but you've got this ivy stamp and this gives you an idea for a corner. But you know what? I want to mirror the corners. This design you could leave in black and white, but I'm thinking I want to add some colour. So first of all, I'm just going to come in with my line punch and a small brush. And I just want to give myself an idea to ground our beautiful shops. And just very quickly. And that's all I'm going to do there, just to give me that idea in my head. I can focus better if they're grounded. So next with our circle mask, and I'm just going to pop that here. Two reasons. One, I like it behind the shops, but I also like the way, look, it almost mirrors that shape. So it just looks really nice and appealing to the eye. So as always, look, I'm going to turn this upside down. Just going to pop it there. And I'm going to come in with the elements, the Blue Lagoon. And as always, so if you're one of our new followers, I always blend in the lid. It's just something I've always done. I find the ink blends better on the brush. And if you do circular, sort of don't dab like this because your ink won't be even. But actually, if you sort of blend and do circular motions, what you'll find is the ink gets distributed over your brush very evenly, and then you've less chance of getting those lines. So I'm going to start at the bottom again, tap on your mask first. If you've got a lot of ink, it takes some out on the mask, and it just means you'll get a much nicer coverage. And I'm just going to work my way around, look, round here, and just come to where the shops are. And then in the lid, blend round. And again, what I find is with these lovely non-slip mats, my lid doesn't move. So look, I can keep one hand on the mask and the other blending happily in the lid. I'm just going to blend a little bit of colour into that sky. And then I'm just going to turn that round. Now I need a little bit of blue down there. And all I'm going to do now, I'll pop the lid on there. If I just do this, look, and it doesn't hurt your brush, just sort of nip it a little. And I'm doing this at the end when I've got less ink on. Look how I can just get it, just to fill that space. It's just a little extra, but we just want a little bit of blue there. But just pinching the brush and just dabbing it down. And I just think already we're building up. So let's add some colour to the shops. Now I'm going to come in with my lovely pencils and just use a combination of different colours. I'm literally just going to do some lovely colouring, and again, this would be a great card. I mean, I'm going to do some quite speedy colouring. Now it might be, if it's a new home card, you want to go off a certain type of colouring. You know, do you know the colour of the new front door? I mean, you could add the number of the front door, couldn't you? We've got our lovely number stamps. I'm just going magical. These watercolour pencils, so again, I could just leave them coloured in like this, or I could add water, but I'm just going to use my Wink of Stella clear, just to add a little bit of sparkle. So this one, I'm going to go for a lovely red door. Although I've got a few different colours, obviously I've got the oranges, the blues, but I just want to keep the same. So obviously the red roof here and then the red door here. It will just balance the design. I don't want to introduce too many different colour tones. Now, I've not got a deeper red, so I'm going to come in with my brown. Brown's a really good colour to add shadow on red. And just to build up, because obviously the moon's there, so this side here will just be in shadow, and that'll just help. Just give that extra detail. Wands and Wishes, this one's called. Again, imagine a shop where you could just go and buy wishes. How fabulous would that be? Right, my clear Wink of Stella. So I'm just going to come in. As I say, you could use your water brush. And I'll just start, and we'll have the lovely windows first, because they're the lighter colour, the yellow. And then I'm just going to go into this light brown here. And the Wink of Stella does two things. It blends those lovely pencils, makes my colouring look better, so that's good. And then it just adds that little bit of sparkle. So I'm going to go straight into that green. And look, where I didn't quite colour properly, it just blends it so it looks like I have. Right, I'll come into the orange now. And I do find it amazing as you're using this, how the colour just deepens, look. Can you see here how that colour's just deeper? And it really does make my colouring look better. And I'm all for that. I will do this orange here. And I'm just being mindful, because I know I'll get a little bit of the colour of the pencil on the end of my Wink of Stella. So if I go into the orange, then do you know what? I can go into the red, because that'll be fine. I don't need to clean my brush. Got a little bit of red there, and the door here. And I do find it's very good because it's not over wet. The colours don't bleed. And then into that. So I've gone into the red first, and then I'm just going to go into that area where the brown is. So here we'll start over this side of the roof, right across. So if you're worried about colouring with your pencils or getting lines, honestly, just using your clear Wink of Stella to blend is such a game changer for me. Just clean the bristles, and then we haven't touched the blue, so look, we'll go in and we'll just blend this lovely blue. And we have blue here. Look at that, so rich. Around the windows, over the door. So again, just clean the nib, because look, but then it goes back to clear. And there we've got our lovely shops, very quickly coloured. So while that's just drying, I'm going to add, now you could leave it like this, but I want to frame the design. And so I'm going to come in with the lovely pixie green. And what I'm going to do, if you look at the finished design, the colour's darker in the two corners where I've got the ivy. I just wanted a bit more sort of, the cards be a bit more dramatic there. So what we'll do, we'll start and blend in the corner where I've got the ivy. So again, in the lid, and just build that colour up in the corner, and then whiz along the bottom, up this side. And again, whenever I add ink, always start in that corner, because I want that deepest, I want that most colour. And then just we'll add a little bit in that corner, not too much, and a little bit in this corner. But you see how it's starting to build up. So if I turn it round and we do the same up here, edge there, and I'm happy with that. So pastel pencils, and let's add some shadowing. So underneath our beautiful shops, we'll add some shadowing. Just going to come in, but also just under the turret here, and just here, and the same here, down this side, and the same on this side. And it's amazing the difference. If I show you the finished design, now had you noticed the shadowing there? Now it's flat, but it just makes it look more 3D. And then biodegradable cotton bud. And again, look, I've used this one so many times. And I'm just going to blend it. The blending does two things, smudges it so it looks better. I think it looks more like a shadow, but also it'll fix it. If you did a whole design in your pastel, you'd need a spray fixative, but this is just such a small amount of pastel that we're fine just giving it a bit of a rub. And I think now that just looks, the shadow in there just makes it look, we'll add a little bit just under here, look, just to make that stand out a little bit. And again, round there. And again, we'll just give that a smudge. Maybe just under this roof here. And you see the difference, how it just makes it look more 3D, and I love that. So when we have shadows, we need some lovely highlights, don't we? So just with my pen, we'll just come in and we'll just add a couple of, maybe just in the door here, just catching, just thinking the moon's here. So this edge will just catch, maybe on the tiles we'll get a little in these windows. And again, you can add as little or as much as you wish, maybe just on that door there. And I don't want to overcook it. I'll add a couple on my beautiful ivy. Like I say, I can't wait to add the holly to this and some little berries. Now, I want a sentiment, so I'm going to go for our stickers, our sentiments. And I think I'm going to go for follow your path, because for me, these beautiful dwellings and shops, we're going to be a shopkeeper and follow our path. Now, again, I quite like it over the moon there. And just to make it stand out, I'm going to edge it in black. And on this one, I'm going to do a frame. So I want each of the lovely edges to just stick out a little. So I've got a frame shape. And again, you can vary. You can add little dots. You can just put a line. Just have fun and play. Now I need a little butterfly. And I like this one here. And this is off our beautiful butterfly stickers. And again, I'm just popping it. And I just think if I put it there, look. Now it might be you want to stamp the mini butterfly. Just going to add a little bit of white highlight. Well, I would if my pen... Right. It's amazing, the back of my card, that's better. It's funny how you get used to using. If ever you get one of my cards, it'll always have some scribble on the back. So now I want to add those lovely water splats. And I'm going to come back in. Just need to give my moon mask a wipe. I didn't wipe it, because I don't want the splats to go where the moon is. So we'll pop this here. And then remember how my water brush is in this water that's got that little bit of sparkle in. So I'm just going to, and again, you could add the water splats wherever you want. I love them on the dark green. I think they show up really well. And I'm just sort of avoiding the houses. Now we'll lift that up and we'll give that a wipe. But I'm definitely going to do a Christmas version of this. Can't wait. I get so excited. And I think, do you know what? Making some Christmas designs now, for me, it just takes that pressure off. Now, I like to let these dry naturally. So I'll bring in the finished one just so you can see that sparkle is still there, look. So do hope you've enjoyed today's little catch-up. And have you got the shops? I wonder, how about your ivies? I've had a look at my stamps recently and I've got a whole folder now just of ivy stamps. Very useful. So thanks so much for popping in. I hope you enjoyed it. So you take care, look after yourselves, enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll pop back soon. Much love and hugs from me. Bye for now.